You know, after I posted the shampoo bottle video, someone asked me something that genuinely made me pause. They said, okay, I get the metaphor, but how do I actually use the shampoo? How do I open the cap? And how do I peel the sticky layer? How do I work with this in real life? And I realized that's the part that most people never learn. They're taught to manage symptoms. We are taught to cope and to push through, to fix situations. But nobody teaches us how to actually work with the inner world itself. Nobody teaches us how to open the system, how to go deeper. And if your psyche is a shampoo bottle, then using it means learning how to open the cap, how to lose the sticky layer around it, to release the pressure and let the inside finally move. And the first thing that you need to understand is this: the cap doesn't open by force, it opens by awareness. Most people try to change their lives by pushing harder, by thinking more, controlling everything, and fixing things. But the ego, which is the cap, doesn't respond to force. It responds to attention. So what does that actually mean? It means awareness in real life, not later. Not when you reflect at night, and not when you analyze your behavior, but in the moment. Like when you're about to reply to a message and when you feel something in your chest tighten. Normally, you would just react, but this time you pause just for a second and you notice, I'm not calm right now. And that's it. So that's the cap loosening. And when someone says something that triggers you, and you feel that your reaction is rising, you need to defend yourself and you need to explain or prove something. And instead of immediately acting on it, you let it exist and just stay in this moment. You notice it, but you don't suppress it, but you don't become it either. It's a space that you create, that tiny gap. That's the opening. It's subtle and it's quiet, but it's real. And then there's a sticky layer, which is the persona. It's the version of you that tries to be acceptable and likable and safe. People think that the persona is something that you just rip it off, like a mask or the sticky layer. But that's not how it works. If you rip it off, you will shock your system and you create resistance. The persona softens the same way that a glue softens, with warmth, with honesty, with gentleness. So what does that actually mean? It means telling the truth, not overwhelming truth, not everything all at once, but a real truth in small moments. It means being honest with yourself and then suddenly allowing that honesty to exist in your interaction with other people. It means showing who you are instead of who you need to be. It's like when someone asks you, are you okay? And your automatic response is, yeah, I'm fine. But then you pause and instead you say, honestly, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. That's it. That's the layer loosening. And when you feel something inside you say no, but your habit say yes, and instead of forcing yourself, you respond with, okay, let me think about it. That's the real work. Every time you choose honesty over image, every time that you show something real instead of something acceptable, the sticky layer softens, not all at once, but gradually. And the system begins to open. And then there is the pressure, which is the hand that is pressing down on a cap. This hand is the world, your parents, culture, religion, school, expectations, and all the voices that told you who you were supposed to be. And here is the important part. You don't release this pressure by fighting it. You release it by questioning. So what does that actually mean? It means noticing the moment when a belief activates you. Instead of obeying it automatically, you get curious about it. Like when you feel guilty for resting, for example. And your first instinct is to push it through, to be productive, to do something useful. But instead of following that impulse, you ask, who taught me that rest equals laziness? Or when you feel like you have to be strong all the time, you ask, where did I learn that showing emotion is weakness? That question alone creates space. It separates you from your belief. And every time you do that, the pressure lifts a little. You're not rejecting the world. You're not rebelling. You're just no longer unconsciously obeying it. And the system begins to loosen. And then there's the squeeze. This is the part that people avoid the most, because this is where you actually engage with your inner world. This is where it stops being an idea and it becomes a practice. The squeeze is the moment you stop running from yourself. So what does that actually look like? It looks like sitting down to journal, for example. Instead of writing something that sounds good, you write something you don't want to admit. It looks like feeling sadness instead of distracting yourself with your phone. And you just sit with it. Even if it's just for 30 seconds, it looks like remembering a dream. And instead of dismissing it, then you ask, why did this image affect me? It looks like having a conversation that you've been avoiding, telling a truth that you've been holding back, allowing yourself to feel anger and any feeling without judging it, allowing yourself to cry without stopping it. This is the squeeze. This is the moment you say, I'm not hiding from myself anymore. And this is where things begin to move. Because when the cap loosens it, when the persona softens and the pressure lifts, and this is actually when you engage with your inner world and it begins to flow. This is the part that people think it's mystical, but it's not. It's natural. And this is what happens when the system is no longer blocked. Old emotions begin to rise. Memories come back. Dreams become more vivid. You start noticing patterns you never saw before, and your reactions just slow down. Your awareness deepens. Your choices become more intentional. You don't feel perfect. You feel real. And this is what people call awakening. It's not a place. It's not a moment. And not something that suddenly happens to you. It's what happens when your inner system finally works the way it's designed to. It's not sealed, not suppressed, and not controlled, but open and flowing and integrated. And here is the part that most people miss. You don't open the system once. You open it again and again, every day, in small moments, in honest moments. You open it when you pause instead of react. You open it when you tell the truth instead of performing. You open it when you question instead of obeying. And You open when you feel instead of avoid. That's the work. It's not dramatic, but consistent. So if you're asking, how do I actually use this? You start here. Next time something in you activates, don't try to fix it. Don't analyze it, and don't try to escape it, the situation. Just notice it for a few seconds, longer than you normally would. That's the beginning. That's the cap opening. And if you keep doing that slowly, gently, and honestly every day, you won't just understand your mind, you will start working with it. And once you start working with it, your entire life begins to change. Not because you became someone new, but because you finally stopped containing yourself and allowed who you are to unfold. And as we go deeper into this, I'm going to start showing you something interesting. Because once you understand how the inner system works, you begin to see it everywhere, even in stories and in movies like The Lord of the Rings, for example. Those aren't just entertainment, they're reflections of the psyche. They will show you visually and emotionally what it looks like to face yourself and to carry your shadow and to be transformed by it. So in future videos that I'm going to post in this channel, we're going to start using those stories and those movies to make it even more real and even more visible. So stay with me because we're just getting started, and I'll see you in the next one.